Come on. Again, I did it again. It never saves. So my assignment, I want to look over this again. Now poker towards. That's what I want to do today. Pre-flop thought process. My Google Keep. I'll put that. That's something I definitely have to. Let's just. Okay, so I'm gonna just do that right now. I'm gonna do that right before I review my hands so I could practice it, right? Yeah, that's perfect. Pre-flop thought process, a plan for studying with a group of people. Or in the morning, Saturday, Sunday. I need a more structured plan for that. Plan for how long I'll play Friday and Saturday nights and Sunday. I remember writing this saying I'm not going to capitalize those, but whatever. Alright, good enough. Continue. I'm going to take a picture of. Did I press continue? I pressed it. Waiting for training beyondtells.com. The site's kind of slow. This slow site. I feel like I'm gonna have a stroke sometimes. She's just talking. Do you accomplish? Yeah, that was yesterday, and oh no, it was yesterday's. Creating a plan. One macro perspective. All right.
Welcome to day 18, everyone. Creating a plan from a macro perspective. So, like I said before, there's a lot of variables in the game that we don't have control over. So whenever we have the opportunity to create control, we want to do that. One of the ways is through planning. And planning in poker is absolutely crucial, but it also can be dangerous. So sometimes players set targets, players set goals that they're not capable of. They create a plan, they feel really good about themselves when they make a plan, and then all of a sudden they start walking down that path and realize that this might have been the wrong plan and have to change it. Other times players just don't have realistic plans or
that's exactly
think
how I
they
feel.
can accomplish something when in reality
I'm kind of like my mind scrambled. My plan right now is to just come up with some structure in life and play poker. Slowly implement studying in game theory after I study more of the mindset stuff.
their skill set is far from that. So we're going to be cleaning up a lot of this over the next couple of days and really show you how to plan at a high level in poker. And at the end of this course, we're going to sort of wrap it all up to create a massive plan for you guys going forward.
Maybe
So
I shouldn't be videotaping this, and putting it on YouTube. It's kind of giving the course away if people find it. Blake Knott might like that. I'm just gonna do these two videos, and then that's it. I don't don't think he'll hate if two people find or if people find two videos. It's no big deal. Maybe I should email him.
A couple things to say about
He's a busy guy though.
what planning in poker actually consists of. So first is the on-table mechanical strategies that are associated with the game. Have you ever wondered how certain high-level players are so quick, or when they play online, they just make decisions at a much quicker rate than their opponents? Well, a lot of that has to deal with the fact that they already have a plan. So for example, in our pro group, we craft plans for everything. We have a plan for, you know, what hands we're raising pre-flop, what hands we're 3-betting pre-flop, and there's a dynamic aspect to that plan so that there's sort of variability. In poker, we know that, you know, it's not always raise ace-9 in this spot, in this position. You might fold sometimes, you might call sometimes, but for the most part, there are defaults in this game that can be very useful. And there's board texture plans that are also dynamic, and there's bluffing frequency plans that are dynamic, and there's so many different aspects of this game that can be planned. You know, at School Cards, and if you listen to me, you know I teach a dynamic sort of approach to the game, and sometimes I think players confuse that for just figuring it out. And the answer is we do figure it out. So we don't advocate range charts, but we advocate that you build range charts for yourself. So I'm not telling you to play this range. I'm telling you, here's how you go through the process to try to determine which is the best hands that you should be playing in this spot against this player, against this situation. So planning.
So should I not go with that other thing and copy their ranges and just make up my own? I'm going to use theirs, but I'm going to adapt it to what I think is a little bit better. I got to make sure that I can't be cold calling a hand in the spot and also 3-betting it. I got to make sure all my ranges fit and change them as I see fit.
On table is very important. It's the mechanical aspect of the game, but it's not in the scope of this course. I will show you some.
I just want to get a water bottle real quick.
Examples later on, but right now, hands that you should be playing in this spot against this player, against this situation. So planning on table is very important. It's the mechanical aspect of the game, but it's not in the scope of this course. I will show you some examples later on, but right now we're really looking at the more mental side of things, setting goals, setting targets, routines, practice, so on and so forth. So the next thing is routines and practice. This is the on table.
Setting goals. What were the couple things you said?
Mechanical aspect of the game, but it's not in the scope of this course. I will show you some examples later on, but right now we're really looking at the more mental side of things, setting goals, setting targets, routines, practice, so on and so forth. So the next thing is routines and practice. This is the on-table systems that are designed for maintaining focus, awareness, and sound play. Basically, they are the things that allow us to walk down our path and play the game that we set out to play. Now, these can get quite robust and quite complex. Like I said, I have simple systems from text messaging, but there's crazy things like you could microdose nicotine. I mean, there's so many different things that you can do for maintaining awareness and focus. And a lot of players just don't do any of this. They don't have any sort of routines or practices. I mean, I think the big one that has come up in the poker community has been meditation or mindfulness, where you pick up a Calm app or something like that. Like, that's really just scratching the surface of what's available in the areas of cognitive performance. And the reality is there's a lot more we can do. Next is pre-game rituals, and these are designed to enhance awareness, focus, and sound play. So, for example, what I previously said, on-table systems is something where like you might be sitting there and realize that you're not that focused, you're not that attentive, so you're going to take a 10-minute break and do a quick meditation. Where pre-game rituals is all the things that you do up until you play poker. A lot of people get this wrong. It's just something that I got wrong when I was playing. I would eat the wrong foods, not sleep enough, do all these things. And it's really about what routines are in place to set you up for success. We've got a lot of things to think about at the table. We got a lot of options to consider, things to do. We got to keep ourselves in check. We got to exercise or practice our mechanical plan. We don't want to have anything else like sleep, text messages from the wife, boyfriend, girlfriend that are little fights, business stuff. We don't want any of that, and we're going to need to design certain routines in order to do that. And then essentially the third thing is targets, paths, and milestones, which I'm going to cover in more detail tomorrow. But what this essentially is,
on-table mechanics. Okay. Routines. You gotta plan your game. You gotta plan your energy before and after and during, and plan everything into your life.
is goal setting in poker. So how to set goals, how to map out a path to that goal, and then really how to accomplish it in the most efficient way possible. And goal setting is a lot different in other areas of life than it is in poker. And the reason why is because we have that concept of variance, right? It's not like if we play every single day today, we are going to make X amount of dollars per hour. It's just not how it works. There's an embedded level of risk in the game, and we're going to have to account for that risk. But just understand that your target is everything. Everything flows from this. So your targets and what you want to accomplish in this game, that is going to dictate your on-table mechanics and how much work you need to put into your on-table mechanics. Your on-table mechanics and the level that you're going to have to dictate that is going to require certain routines and certain practices and so on and so forth. It all depends on what your targets are. If your targets are to have fun and annoy other players, your on-table routines can look a hell of a lot different. They can involve drinking a shot every hour versus if you're trying to crush the biggest games you've ever played. Like, it's completely different depending on targets. So everything stems from that, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more tomorrow. But just some points about sort of goal setting and targeting in general. First, this is very important. Complexity is fine. I love complexity as long as it can be maintained with a low cognitive load, meaning the systems can be complex, but you can't be the one executing the complex system. You will find that really hard. You want to move from simple.
It has to be complex, but you can't be the one doing the complex.
Simple to
as long as you load, you will find it. From simple to complex, not the other way around. So that's me taking out those three things and just focusing on my pre-flop. Just focus on my pre-flop thought process. And eventually I'll start doing those other three things: the respect, turn, raise, river, the conscious c-betting, and the tight out of position. I'll start noticing those, which one I'm missing most, but pre-flop thought process. And just notice emotions.
Complex, not the other way around. Meaning, all of our goals, all of our systems at the poker table, everything that we're going to do is simple. Once it's simple and we achieve that, we move on to something a little bit more complex, okay? And the second thing is plans in poker, they should use ranges and not be so damn...
So just don't overwhelm yourself and don't burn out. Keep it simple. Kiss.
And we achieve that, we move on to something a little bit more complex, okay?
So whenever I'm breaking down hands, I'm just going to think about what their calling ranges are pre-flop and on the flop, what I think they are. I'm not going to try and break down turn and rivers. When I get those ideas into my head, even if first I'll get those ideas in my head right, I'll remember exactly the way I'm thinking, but then I'll realize in which ways I'm wrong, and then I'll be able to adapt that. And then once I'm really comfortable with the pre-flop and flop, then I can move to the turn. I'll be way more accurate on the turn because I took the time to digest it pre-flop and on the flop. I'm gonna take a nap. I did a leg workout, steam room. I got 8 hours of sleep, but yeah. Like he said, you're overdoing it and you're burning yourself out, so let's Google Keep. This is my main priority though. It's only a 10-minute video a day, and just think about what he's saying throughout the day. Don't priority number 1. I need to set my priorities. That's priority number 1. And so it's almost like just show up and keep it simple. That's my priority. That's it. Avoid your terrible game and keep it simple. Alright, let's rewind a little bit.
To complex, not the other way around. Meaning, all of our goals, all of our systems.
And that makes a lot of sense because I've just been passively watching a whole bunch of poker videos, so I half-ass know all these concepts, but I don't know it at the unconscious level, unconscious competence level yet. It's more like, is it conscious competence? It's conscious competence mixed with unconscious incompetence, because I'm not even aware that I'm overwhelmed, but now I am. It's funny because all these concepts, they're easy to understand. They're just hard. It's hard to be patient and take the process slowly. It is.
Is at the poker table. Everything that we're going to do is simple. Once it's simple and we achieve that, we move on to something a little bit more complex, okay?
It's kind of like someone who's overweight who just go to the gym, do whatever you want. That's it. Just show up. It doesn't matter if you're doing, don't do the exercises wrong where you're destroying yourself, but keep it simple. Just show up every day. Once you get the habit of going to the gym every day, you'll realize, hey, I'm doing too much of these muscles and not these muscles. Slowly working your way up type thing.
Okay. And the second thing is plans in poker. They should use ranges and not be so damn specific. So a lot of people set these goals where it's like, I need to make X amount of money. Where in poker, it's way more healthier to have sort of a range in terms of what you're doing. So for example, like I want to hit between 8 to 12 big blinds per hour instead of I need to hit 10. Like we want to have ranges and a little bit of a margin for error to account for those issues in the game. So essentially, 3 sort of planning. We have bigger picture planning, which is going to use targets,
theory,
paths, and milestones. We have the on-table mechanical planning, which is going to deal with how we actually play the game of poker and what is going to be our approach. And then finally, we're going to have our routines that are going to occur on table, and we're going to have our pre-table routines. And those are the things that we're going to go over and start to build later. So we're going to move from the top down and then solidify everything towards the end of the class. But it's important for you to see this planning perspective because really having a plan, there's nothing better for your mental game when you're the person with the plan. Most poker players don't have any plan. They don't even.
That's so weird too, because I messaged him the other day asking him for like a basic 101 class, and now he's talking about this.
Even know what they're doing. They just sit down and they sort of wing it. We are going to plan so many aspects of our game that we're going to have such an edge when we actually sit down at the table. So for today's assignment, I want you to take a look at yesterday's plans, the things that you wrote out, and I want you to tell me which of the following three were you strongest in. Like, what did you have a plan for, and what didn't you? So some of you
take a look at yesterday's plans. Which of the following three were you strongest in? Is he going to name three things? What do you have a plan for? Is it the three things he named? Or do I pick three things I named? What do you have a plan for? What don't you? Okay. I think he's going to name three things. Which are the
mechanically are really, really good. So some of the people I spoke to last week, mechanics is not a problem. They have a solid plan, but maybe the execution of that plan in the form of routines isn't being recognized because they're not sleeping and they have a lot of things going on in their life that's not working and allowing them to perform at the highest level. I just want you to really look at it and say, like, okay, like, what areas do I have covered? What areas do I not have covered? And like, how well or how poorly are you actually doing that? It'll give us a good springboard for tomorrow. Welcome to day 18, everyone, and allowing them to perform at the highest levels. I just want you to really look at it and say.
So I think he means which of the three things he named were you strongest in?
Say, like, okay, like, what areas do I have covered? What areas do I not have covered? And like, how well or how poorly are you actually doing that?
So there's life goals, the theory, and then habits.
It'll give us a good springboard for tomorrow.
Take a look at yesterday's plans. I'm confused here.
Welcome.
Yesterday's plans. My plans, or he didn't have plans yesterday. Most players don't have a plan. If you don't have a plan, you don't know when you're deviating from a plan. Alignment is when you say something and follow through. Tomorrow we will start creating plans. Take a look at yesterday's plans, the ones I wrote out for myself. Which of those plans, which of the following three were you strongest in? What do you have a plan for? What don't you? I already named yesterday what I don't have a plan for. I already named yesterday what I have a plan for. I don't know. Take a look. I'm just going to go with those three things he named, and I'm going to... I think going through those three things he named and just rambling off what plans I need and then putting those plans in order. So that's what I'm going to do. What's going on here? Is this thinking? Next video, please. I'm just going to actually...
Do I not have covered? And like, how well or how poorly are you actually doing that? It'll give us a good springboard for tomorrow.
Go black my eyes there, man. I noticed I watched a YouTube video, one of mine, for like a couple seconds, and then unfortunately the window goes right over the clock. Can I move the clock somewhere else? I'm just gonna put it on the right. Holy shoot. How do you put it on the right? Automatic. Locked it down. I'll write that down. Right or left? I think left.